So the way you relay the movie you saw, this is the example from the former video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the other video, the prior video, because we're getting into understanding distortion and how it happens when people are making predictions. Because as I was telling you, the way you relay what you saw in the example, like the video, not the video, excuse me, you saw the film at the movie theater, and then you start talking to your friends about it, and you're like, oh my God, girl, I saw Sinners, and girl, did you know? Oh yes, and you get into it, right? So the way you relay what you saw, the way that you explain what you saw and heard, the way that you understand what you saw and heard, and then the way that you interpret what you saw and heard, it causes distortion in how you explain what you saw and heard. This is what is going on in prediction. And when you're not, I got a white pillow behind me, sorry. The way that you, and so if you are a religious person, and let's just say Christianity, because I have begun this series talking about how one specific Christian prophet's statements are being leveraged in a way, and they're being twisted and utilized for harm, which has triggered and it has triggered a need for a deconstruction of prediction, a deconstruction of what the prophet said, a deconstruction of what is occurring in Christian circles, because people have made, and I use the example of Kim Clement, people have made a cult. They've created the cult of Kim Clement unknowingly. Christians do this all the time. And human beings in general do this. So human beings do this all the time. It is a core and fundamental error that human beings engage in, because something happens that is outside of the average person's capacities, like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and King, the reigning king of basketball. Oh, that's going to trigger some controversy. The reigning king of basketball, LeBron James, they're worshipped. You know everything about them. You spend your money on curating facts, seeing their games, talking about them, praising them. If you could, you wish you could talk to them constantly, or at least in ways in which you could talk to them. If you could, you would like to capitalize off of the knowledge of them. This is what people do to that non-unique identifier, God. It just is, it's to be, unfortunately, humans do this. If you do something that is outside of if you're 7 feet tall, well, that's kind of becoming normalized, but used to be, if you were 7 feet tall, oh my God, people will want to know about you. Can you do this? Can you do that? Let me see you do it. Let's talk about it. I got to talk about my friends. We got to make content, blah, 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 blah. That happens with, things that are beyond the average person. So going back to the example of distortion, because I think the oversimplified example is to help people is really, it should be common sense. But it's not, unfortunately. And the reason why common sense has gotten kicked out and people haven't used discernment and critical thinking, especially when we're talking about Christian prophecy, is because Christians unfortunately suffer from the need to confirm their biases. And when you confirm their biases, you make a prediction. The prediction turns out, at least for the most part, right. And you're telling the Christian that you are speaking on behalf of God, and this may not be true for you, the person who's watching. So I wouldn't be offended. You just need to listen to what I'm saying, and then perceive what I'm saying, and then proceed accordingly. I mean, you can accept it, don't accept it, or whatever. But especially in the Christian context, where you have people who accept things on faith without data, you should go back and watch my content for the past several years. I've deconstructed this. It's one of the core and fundamental malfunctions and failings of Christianity, which rigs a person's association with and the fact that they become a Christian. It rigs it to fail because you have to accept the fact that deity exists on faith. You have to accept the fact that what you're being told is correct, and you have to do it on faith. And that leaves open a large chasm for error. Same thing happens because there's distortion in the Christianity too. You got 40 something thousand isms of it. But so with distortion with predictions. So the example again is just a person goes to the movie. Okay, so person goes to the movie, say like the movie Sinners. And then the person goes and tells their friends about what they saw and what they heard at the movies. They are excited. They are relaying this, and they're, girl, let me tell you the whole plot. Here are the spoilers. And the way that they relay what they heard and saw, the way that they understood what they heard and saw, the way, whether or not they even get half of the details of the film correct. And no, it doesn't even matter how well-meaning. That's a whole series. How well-meaning the person is who's talking to you about Sinners, right? They still are going to get some stuff wrong. And that's what happens with predictions. Just like the folktale example, story changes as it goes from person to person to person. It's distortion. It doesn't matter how well-meaning you are. It doesn't matter whether or not in the line of dissemination of the information of what was heard and saw, distortion occurs. It doesn't even matter if you write it down. You could take this video. A person could watch it. Okay. They could go and they could go and hand someone this video, just forward it on. And how the people perceive what was said, okay, because there's also distortion in what was meant to be said, between what was meant to be said and, let me use my hand more correctly. There's a distortion between what was said and what was meant to be said, what was said, and how it was understood. That's a bad example. I got to get a whiteboard, because in the space between what was meant to be said in the brain, is what was meant, and what is actually said and communicated and how it's perceived, step 3, you're just going to have error. People are going to understand, misunderstand, not really get what you were trying to say, because what you were trying to say really wasn't communicated in a way that is effective to your general audience, because each person has a different worldview, a way of understanding things, hearing and seeing. Some people are visual learners. I'm a visual person. Some people like to see words, but there's just distortion that occurs across along the line. And so that's what's happening in predictions. And I think that's a good that's about where we might leave it today. And I'll probably give you the example again. Let's see if I have another example of it. But I think giving you the folktale example and giving you the movie, like the example of the movie Sinners, and the friend, me, or any person going to see Sinners, and then you get they go through the act of relaying what they saw and what they heard, because they're so excited about it. We were all so excited about Sinners, still am. I did a teaching series on, I titled it "Hain't You My God." I had on like the red sweatshirt, and I was just walking and talking, and I was teaching about the process of God creation, which is something you really need to check out as a deconstructing person, or just some person who's trying to make an honest effort of worshiping your deity, whatever that is. People need to understand it. And sorry, I'm faltering because I kind of want to say, especially if you're Christian, but if you're part of the Abrahamic religions, I'll put the marker there, the benchmark there, which is, I'll have to go to the next video. Sorry, 1 second.